I'm Jared Warham, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Cattle Call. We're coming to you today from 2018 National Cattlemen's Beef Association Annual Convention here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm joined, happy to be joined by Tom Brink. He's CEO of the Red Angus Association of America, and also Top Dollar Angus, which is a really cool premium, kind of a premium-based marketing program for elite kind of carcass cattle. And so I'd like to kind of turn it over to Tom and let him tell you about what is going on at Red Angus right now that's new and different. I know he's got a lot of projects he's been working on the last couple of years, getting Red Angus moving forward. Got a lot of targets as far as getting more red cattle in the southeast. I know that's an important area. That's an area where cattle that are red hided have a real advantage in that, and heat tolerance. And then of course bringing with them, in addition to the heat tolerances, their advantages in some of the maybe mature frame size, handling the fescue, and any number of things from the maternal aspect of it to well, I'll just turn it over to you.
Absolutely,
and let
Jared.
speak,
Thanks for having me here this afternoon, and it's fun to be at the trade show at NCBA. Always, you get to talk to a lot of people.
Yes.
A lot of good conversations about what's going on in the industry, and so thanks for the chance to share with you a few things of what we have going on at Red Angus.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk also maybe a little bit about Top Dollar Angus. But Red Angus is coming off of a couple years of great growth. Our registrations have grown 66% in the past 2 years. That puts us up about tied for number 3 as one of the largest beef breeds in the U.S. So that's exciting, and we've had a lot of fun with that. And the growth is pretty broad geographically, but as you mentioned, we do feel like there's a lot of opportunity for Red Angus, red-hided cattle in the south, in the southeast, where heat is a factor, and we have an advantage over the black-hided cattle, generally speaking, and we're always going to see a lot of ear influence in the south, and that's what should happen, but we feel like our market share opportunity is tremendous there. I'll give you one example. It's not completely in the southeast, but we're seeing outstanding growth in the state of Missouri.
Yep.
And we kind of look at that as the gateway to the southeast. And as breeders get stronger, marketing programs get stronger, our tagging program, the feeder calf certification program, you see the picture in the ear behind me that this animal has a yellow tag. That's what we call it. It's the feeder calf certification program. Now that program is the largest breed-based tagging program in the industry, and been very successful. We've quantified that it will have extra value at marketing time. About $2.50 a hundred is what the superior data that we've analyzed would say. That's the value add that comes with that tag. If you have Red Angus cattle and you don't tag them, you should be, because that extra value is there, and that tag only costs 99 cents a piece, Jared. So
that's
that $2.50 a hundred for 99 cents investment, that's pretty darn good. And so we're excited about what that program is doing, and really it's part of the value-added movement. One of the things that I really am excited about in this industry is more value-added opportunities of many different kinds, genetically, health-wise, natural NHTC in many cases, and other types of programs nutritionally that are out there. This industry is really catching on to the fact that we can and need to add value to these cattle. Jared, you and I have been around this business for a while, and nobody wants to sell cattle at an average price. That's just not that much fun. Profitability in a commodity business is typically not that great, right? We all know that. And so value added is the name of the game, and I encourage everybody watching this program to think about how I can take my calf crop and add value to it. And maybe you need to make some changes genetically if you don't see a natural pathway to that. Maybe it is a premium program like Top Dollar Angus, which focuses, it's a genetic verification and marketing program, focuses on the top 25% growth in carcass genetics in the Angus and Red Angus breeds. And so it gives those cattle a unique identity. It allows them to have the ability to go to a feed yard and actually ask a higher price because they're worth more. And feed yards in this industry are catching on pretty rapidly to the fact that really superior genetic cattle are more than just average cattle. They really do deliver extra growth, extra carcass, extra feed efficiency, and so they're worth more. And so Those are some of the things that I guess when we look around the industry and we see what's going on, we feel well positioned in terms of Red Angus as a breed that's going to continue to grow and capture more market share.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And of course, you've got way more experience than I do in this territory. But when I hear value added, I think low risk. By adding value, you lower the risk for that next buyer or for the next owner. And the more you can do to add value, whether it's from a health standpoint or a carcass standpoint or having them in the right flesh and having them in an even group, the more you can do to add value, the more you've done to reduce the risk of maybe losses on the next end for the other guy. And so the more you've done that, you understand that equation, then I think that kind of makes it maybe in a little more simple terms for you. Value added is also a way to kind of encapsulate risk management from the other side of it.
Boy, you hit the nail on the head there, Jared, because we live in a very volatile market situation, and anything we can do to reduce risk is something that we should be looking very hard at. And cattle that have the potential to create more total value and a bigger top, that is what we're looking for. And we call that in some cases a genetic hedge or a health hedge, you might say. And if the cattle do better from a health standpoint, from a performance standpoint, if they have carcass value at the other end, those are some very real returnable value added features of one set of animals maybe versus another, that as a feed yard operator and as a person that's trying to squeeze out a margin in a volatile market, I need every little advantage I can get. And a bigger top line is something that gives me a chance to work with that and probably make a profit where sometimes average cattle won't.
And it's
so yeah, you're right on.
It's a buyer's market, and as that gap widens, it seems like it. I mean, even though it's a volatile market, it's regardless of the volatility. Take that out of it. And not 100% of the time, because I know guys that maybe pull the calves right off the cow and take them to the sale barn, still get good prices for them. But on average, in this buyer's market, if you don't pay attention to those leverage positions or leverage items as far as reducing risk for the next guy, it's going to be awfully hard to consistently demand the high price.
Oh, it is.
And it's just getting the gap. I mean, cattle that are too fleshy, or cattle that aren't weaned and properly, vaccinated, I mean, they're 10 to 15 back. And it's one of those deals, and it's not consistent, but it's pretty rare. I mean, it's consistent enough that you can see those trends. Sure. And as that gap widens, I think, or at least I think it's only going to widen as the buyer's market grows.
It is going to continue to widen, and right now we do have, you say it's a buyer's market, it is a buyer's market because we have larger cattle numbers, and the buyers can be more picky. They don't have to just buy every group of cattle they're offered. I just had a conversation with a substantial buyer just minutes before you and I sat down, and he said a very interesting thing to me that I'm just thinking of because it lines up with what we're talking about. He said, once these feed yards that are his buyers, once they experience value-added cattle that have a health program behind them, that have superior genetics behind them, they don't go backwards.
Yes.
They stay with those programs, and they want to buy all their cattle that way because they understand they are different and they are better. And they have, again, they have the leverage because it is a buyer's market. They have the leverage to pick and choose, and something that isn't a value-added opportunity for them, they can say no all day.
It's like hitting the easy button.
It is.
For value.
It is hitting the easy button, and I think our industry has been segmented and has been criticized a lot over the years for not communicating segment to segment. And I think we're starting to understand, though, now that that's what these value-added identities are. One group of calves to the next, if they are value-added from a health standpoint, they're back 45. They're value added from a genetic standpoint. Maybe they're carrying their Red Angus yellow tag, or their top dollar identified, or whatever it is that verifies the genetics. Like you said, Jared, it takes risk out, and I know as a buyer that I'm going to get something that is better than average. The philosophy we use at Top Dollar is very simply say, if you'll give us $50 a head above the average market, we're confident that those genetics will deliver $50 to $100 a head above your average cattle. And so there's additional profit in it for the buyer, for the cattle feeder. That's really our goal, and we're accumulating data that shows that. But again, more broadly, there's programs out there that are getting the job done, and I would encourage encourage all of our cow-calf producers who might be listening to think about what they can do to add value.
And encourage them to contact anybody, whether it be, if you want to breed Black Angus cattle, great. Contact your breeder and see what he can help you do. If you want to breed Red Angus cattle, contact the Red Angus Association and talk to one of their field reps. You've got guys that would be more than happy to talk to you about the tagging program, about getting cattle into the Southeast. If you're in Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, any of those places, you're thinking, man, I could use some red-hided cattle. There are some opportunities to not only bring Red Angus, but maybe bring them and infuse them into your Beefmaster program. I could see that being, I'm not saying you need to replace your Beefmasters with Red Angus, but I can see that being an item that would probably have some value. Bringing some Red Angus bulls in there and putting them on some heat-tolerant type cattle would add some value, and we've got some guys already doing that within our program. And so I would encourage guys to reach out and contact anybody with the Red Angus Association and talk to them about all those programs. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know it's a little noisy, lots going on here at convention. Singers in the background, lots of people here. They're kind of starting to move out to some of the state meetings. I'm actually getting ready to head out and head to the Missouri State meeting, and I think you've got some stuff you're going to go to, and so we wanted to get this out of the way and appreciate it, and hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Cattle Call.
Jared, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.